Hey Adam,
Hey, how's it going?
doing good Adam. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Good to have you back, Adam. So how your day so far?
So far, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Can't complain. Pretty
And,
chill day. How about yourself?
oh, it's a wonderful day here. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, Stephen. So all good at home?
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen and Adam, you released your third album, Roots of Proctor, back in January 2023. So would you guys like to talk a bit about this album, about the songwriting process and the production behind it?
I'll let Steven cover that one.
Yeah, so when we did the last album, it was a full band at that point, with um Jordan on lead guitar, Derek on drums. Both of those were on Mammoth. When we talked about that, which Adam, his vocals are on that album. And then Henry on bass guitar and Ryan on vocals for that album for Roots of Proctor. Um, the songwriting was basically the same as it's been for each album. Basically, I just create the um, general song structure, all the riffs and bass, and then like some scratch demo drums. And then for that one, um, for the drums at least, Derek uh, took what I wrote and then put his own spin on it, what he would do when we played live and stuff. So, um, and then Ryan put down his vocals, sent them to us, and we got it all mixed in and everything and released. We were pretty happy with that one.
Adam, you got something to add on to that?
Well, not for specifically that album, since I wasn't involved in that album. I can't speak for that one. I'd say our process is pretty similar. Um, Stephen creates a large majority, if not all, of the instruments. He brings it to me. I give any type of input that I can. Sometimes I don't need to because it's great. And then we're in the process of like crafting the story for this next album that we're working on. Not to get too far ahead. And with that story, we kind of chunk it out into songs, and that's where I get to write the vocal lines and lyrics, which is most fun part for me, obviously.
Fantastic, fantastic. And talking about the album, I know being an extreme metal, there's not meant to be a kind of concept, but did you guys had some kind of plan or a theme behind it when you start writing this album?
Yeah. So each album has a general story to them, but the it's also one big story. So all of the albums connect. And I think what Adam and are doing for the next, we have two more albums planned. Um, I think we're doing some cool stuff with coming up with like how could we add more depth to the story? How can we end it? How could we um, how could we really tell a meaningful story that kind of wraps everything up? Another thing to note is we're working with a writer friend of mine, Michael Candelario. Um, we're working on getting a book with all of the album stories in it, and so we're pretty excited about the concept idea as a whole.
Fantastic, fantastic. And since you spoke about story kind of thing, so are you planning to come up with an illustration like release of this book or something like that?
Yeah, I'd love to have a whole just a complete book with everything, like a cover, illustrations, and everything. Um, I think that's the where we're headed, and I'm really excited for that.
Fantastic, fantastic. And also, like we spoke earlier, like you are also working on a couple of more albums on this series. So how is that working coming up? So do you have a planned release date and what exactly is y'all working on currently?
So right now we have ideas for two more albums in this saga. For this overall story, which will probably conclude this story, and then maybe we'll come up with something different, do other things. Not really sure because it's like way out, but
Yeah.
we don't have any release plans yet because right now there's probably there's probably 3 songs done. Well, the music for 3 songs is pretty fleshed out and ready.
So I remember last thing you said that we had like the music for 3 songs kind of fleshed out.
Yeah. So right now we're pretty early on this next album in the writing process, so there's no release date as of yet. Because what we'll do is once we get closer to finishing up the album, we'll plan out a proper like 3-month PR campaign, and then at that point we'll know more about the release date and stuff. But hopefully next year at some point.
I feel pretty confident saying definitely some point next year.
Yeah, it'd be nice because we released Roots of Proctor in January this year, so maybe like around a year turnaround rate would be cool. But I really want us to take our time with these next 2 albums for sure. And I think it's nice since we don't gig anymore, that takes a lot of pressure off of that. Having to come up with new material, showcase it live and stuff. Which is always cool to get, you kind of gauge how the crowd is reacting to the new material. But at the same time, I feel like that can kind of impact the writing. So instead of like the way I like to write is writing music that I want to hear instead of what, other people want to hear. So I think when you get that, it can kind of discourage that part of the writing for me personally.
And talking about Roots of Proctor, like 10 amazing songs, beautifully written, great musicianship, and amazing vocals from Adam, and totally a fantastic extreme metal album from you guys. So I'm totally flabbergasted listening to this entire album. So thank you guys so much for putting up an amazing album this year. And as a band and creator of this album, how do you guys feel about the album?
What was that?
Um,
Oh,
Do you want me to repeat again?
the last part of the question.
Yeah, what I was asking is, how do you guys feel about the outcome of this new album?
for Roots of Proctor,
Yes.
I think it came out amazing. I'm really impressed with the and also everything that the other guys put in and what we were able to do together to really make. I think it's a solid album. We've gotten a lot of really great feedback and reviews, and it seems like we've gained quite a few fans, which is always awesome to see. Just the other day, my friend sent me a post in a I believe it was a tech death group. And they were like, "Hey, someone mentioned you guys in this group." So I joined it. I saw it. They were sharing the album and everything. And it's cool to see just Sagen pop up in random Facebook groups and stuff. So I think the last album definitely had a huge impact on that. Got a lot of attention and had people go back to listen to Mammoth. Even some listen to Tides, which we remastered and released, which was cool. It's nice to finally, you have this catalog of music, and then you get this bigger album released, and it brings people, they find out that, oh, they have 2 other albums. Sweet. Let me dive into that. So it's been great. Very happy with that album. And how people are sharing it around and stuff.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Adam, as a vocalist, how do you feel about the album, Adam?
So I so it's actually kind of complicated because I actually, for that album, I didn't do vocals, but I, having listened to all 3 albums, I think Roots is my favorite of all 3. I just think Steven, over the course of the albums, you progress a lot as a musician. And I really think you with everyone else put together, like, I don't know, it's really hard to put into words because music is just such a like subjective thing, but like seeing the progression, I don't know, I remember listening to that album all the way through when you guys released it, and I was just grinning ear to ear because I was like, I don't know, it was just good music, and I like good music, and my friends were producing good music, and now obviously it's cool to now be a part of that process again, because I had a lot of fun with Mammoth, even though it was hands off. I'm excited for the future because I had fun even with it on a hands off thing, but you know, now that we're going to be more involved, I think it'll be, I don't know, I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, just to kind of clarify, so Adam here, he did vocals for Mammoth, the second album, but it was we were like 5 years in at that point, 4 or 5 years. We had the music ready, and we were just going through all these vocalists, and none of them worked out the way we wanted them to. And then Derek, the drummer, he mentioned that his friend did vocals, so he was like, yeah, I could see if he wanted to. So he came in at the end and sent us one song, and I was like, okay, yes, please just do the rest of the album for us. That would be so cool. And so that ended up happening. And then Adam was living in not Colorado,
Seattle.
Okay. I knew it was somewhere far away from North Carolina. So we found a local vocalist. We did a couple of gigs, and then we started doing Roots of Proctor stuff. So the vocalist for Roots of Proctor is Ryan Vale. He and the bassist Henry, they have a new project called The Lives of Many. So that's where they're at. And so we decided that it'd be best for Sagen to just stop gigging and just release stuff online and everything. And so I talked with Adam, and I was like, hey man, is that something that appeals to you? And he said yes. So me and him working on the next 2 albums and everything, and I'm pretty excited because now, instead of having a late addition for Mammoth where he like comes in at the very end, now he can, like he was saying, he can be a part of it from the beginning and really help create something that I think is going to be pretty special.
Fantastic. And do you guys see Sagen from the past to Sagen to the future? Do you see any changes in the band, musically speaking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Adam was saying, I mean, I think so too, that just the growth from each album, I think each one just improves drastically. Um, Not that the old ones are like worse. It's just maybe they are worse, but
Yeah,
it just kind of
what I would
shows
say,
the
like,
growth.
if I had to talk about the aspect that I think really shows from like the progression is like songwriting perspective. Like I feel like I don't know, the songs are kind of more fleshed out. They don't feel there feels like there's less uh I don't know how to put it. Man, talking about music is so weird sometimes, but like if
Yeah,
the songs in Roots felt more tighter, and like there wasn't, there wasn't any riffs that overstayed its welcome. Everything felt, like in its proper place and well thought out. And yeah, I'm excited to make more music like that moving forward.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Adam, you like before Stephen joined us, we were speaking about your taste in music, and you
Mm-hmm.
told me that you're very much influenced by prog metal. So,
Oh
do you
yeah,
have plans to integrate some of the prog elements into the band in the future?
I would like to. Yes. Yeah. Do the most I can as a vocalist. I like to experiment with vocals. So like, I'll sit in front of a microphone and just try different sounds and just, try to be responsible with my throat, make sure I'm not harming it. But like I'll definitely just try different things. Obviously, I'm going to be singing to kind of give a different, dynamic. So I'm not it's not just like all screaming. I even try to have dynamics within my screaming if I can. Um, but yeah, to answer the question shorthand, yes.
Mm.
And I kind of just blabbered about like everything I want to do. But yeah, yes. And I'm gonna be just trying a lot of stuff and seeing what works, what doesn't. I love that process of like, because not everything's gonna work. I don't like to play it safe.
Mm.
And but I feel like it's worth it, once you go through that process and you find something that's like both unique and like sounds good. That's the hard part.
And you're already in the works of another two albums, like you said earlier. But do you have plans to bring in more members into the band, or just want to keep it between you two?
I'd like it to just stay the two of us.
Mm.
Um, because originally Sagen, when I started it back in, like 10 years ago at this point almost, um, it was more just a creative outlet. It wasn't about gigging, playing shows, making it big, anything like that. I just needed my own, because I was in a few bands, and then I needed my own way to just get ideas out and have fun with it. Um, it would be cool to have like, I would say if anyone else came on and be like featured type stuff. Um, I'm still on the fence about that as a whole. Um, but I have talked to a few people that were definitely interested on either putting a like a guitar solo on a song or uh, um, doing live drums, that sort of thing. But there's nothing planned as of now in from my planning to add anyone else because we won't be gigging. Um, so
You
I
want
don't
to
know.
try and you want to sneak a drum solo into this album, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that'd be cool. Um, well, I when I made the announcement about Sagen going online and everything, and how the other bandmates were leaving to pursue their other ventures and whatnot. I probably had 15 different musicians message
Oh
me and be
snap!
like, hey man, so does that mean there's a position open? Like, do you need a drummer? Do you need a guitarist? Do you need vocals? So that was really cool a moment because it was like the next 2 days, it was like 10 or 15 different
Oh
people.
yeah.
And it's like, wow, people actually do care about
I'm
the
sure that
band and
felt
music.
validating.
Yeah. Um, but everyone I had to be like, no, sorry, I already have planned that I for vocals. Adam's gonna be joining and stuff, and so it was tough saying that because like I wanted to have other people come in and work on it, but
Let's just be
I'm
a
also
15-man band.
yeah, we'll be the next Slipknot times two.
Will this put a lot of pressure on you guys, being the two of you, to do everything by yourself?
Well,
Yeah.
where there's pressure, you know, if you
I
get
dig it.
the job
Yeah.
done, it'll come out better. Um, I mean, for me, it's really not that much different because since the first album, it's just been me writing the music. So,
That hasn't
um,
changed, yeah.
so for me, it's kind of just the same process. Um, Except you know we won't have the guitar solos from Jordan anymore. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to get back into guitar solos and writing those because I that's kind of where I started out. I would learn every solo I could, and then when I started with Tides, I didn't even I put one solo on it, and it was in the intro track, so it wasn't even like a solo. It was just kind of there, but um, so stuff like that will be different. Not having Derek to talk about drums, and he added so many different dynamics to change up how I was writing the drums. Um, there were a lot of really cool moments on Roots of Proctor, especially that were just drum beat changes that he just came up with, and I was like, "Dang, that's pretty sick." Actually, we'll go with that one. So that'll be missed, but hopefully, I think we'll be able to manage getting everything done.
Fantastic. And what's new for 2023? Do you have some special plans for this year?
Just writing. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. We probably won't be that present online on Facebook and stuff. Now that there's no gigs, we want to post, you know, every 3 days or so that we got a new gig coming up or stuff like that. So it'll kind of be a nice break from having to run the social media game, which I know a lot of bands try to emphasize. But for me, I'd rather just focus on the writing and let it kind of grow organically.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. We did talk about maybe doing a cover or two. We're still trying to brainstorm that.
Yeah, I think since we only have 3 months left, I think the primary time is going to be just focused on writing, recording, like the pre-pro section of, you know, this album, get it nice, get all our ideas fleshed out, you know, all of our bad ideas tossed aside, you know, and eventually, you know, make a solid album.
Interesting. Sounds like a plan. And prior to the release of the album, do you have any plans to release some kind of single or a video from this upcoming album?
Yeah, so we'll probably do a little PR campaign where we release 2 or 3 singles, do some sort of video for them, something like that, and then we'll release. Pretty much, it'll be very similar to the Roots of Proctor release, but probably not a music video because as fun as it was, and as great of a video that came out by Garrett Barefoot, it'd just be a little tough to finance something like that. But there's some ideas that we have. And it would be funny to have a 2-man music band.
Yeah.
And since you spoke like you're breaking away from touring, doing gigs, so do you have some kind of plans like doing kind of live stream or something for the fans in the future?
Probably not, just because well, no sort of live stream where we're playing the music, because I mean I only have 2 arms for the guitar, and two, for me, I kind of just want to write, record, and then forget about the riffs. Like, I'm not writing anything down or even trying at all to remember how to play these songs. I think that for me is the best way to go. Just help with the writing, and I'm really terrible at remembering songs. We'd go to gigs and I'd be like, "Hey Jordan, how do you play this riff?" It'd be like 10 minutes before we go on stage, and you'd be like, "Dude, you wrote that riff. Like, you wrote all these riffs. What? Why are you asking me?" Like, I forgot. I'm sorry. Then I'd get on stage and I'd forget it again. Oh.
Interesting. And Stephen and Adam, like I know it goes especially to Stephen, like since the beginning of the band, like you have 3 albums out now. So how do you think this musical journey been for you so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. It's been a great outlet creatively. It's been fun meeting all the people, past bandmates, fans at shows, other bands. I've made a lot of really good friends through this band. So that's a big part of what I've loved about it. But also just being able to kind of grow as a mixer, like producing music. That's also been very, very good and beneficial, because now I've got some albums under my studio for other bands. So that's been great. And I wouldn't have that unless I needed to learn how to do it out of necessity so I could release this music. So that's I guess that's what I've liked about it.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Is it okay for him to plug his studio at all? Is that because you said
Oh
your
yeah,
studio,
if
name it.
anybody needs some mixing or mastering, Lacerate Studios. That's my studio.
Awesome. 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 And Adam, I have this question for you. So, how did you get into extreme metal, and were you part of another band before joining Sagen?
Second part of that question again?
Before joining this band, do you play for another band, or you
Oh.
before? And how do you got into extreme metal?
Okay, let's start with how I got into extreme metal first. It was so strange. It's a very vivid memory. I was really into this is so embarrassing. I was really into like wrestling, like WWE.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. And I can't remember the year. It was like it was a pay-per-view event.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, at this point, I was very young and I had not been exposed really to any extreme metal of any kind. And they had a theme song, and it was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor by Drowning Pool. I was like, yo, this is what is happening. This is so aggressive. I didn't know you could do this in music. And that is kind of what opened it up for me. And it, from there, I remember moving to like Linkin Park. And I know not necessarily extreme metal, but you know, it's kind of my journey. And then from there, I found like System of a Down, and that like changed my life. And that was kind of a gateway into like just all forms of metal. Slayer was a big impact. And then, you know, once I started like warming up to that type of metal, I kept trying to find like more and more extreme stuff, you know, got as far as like Cannibal Corpse and stuff. And, you know, I kind of eventually kind of found, I think I love all metal. And if you, any genre of metal, I could probably find a band that I like. But I think probably where I sit at mostly is like the death metal, prog. Like those are probably my favorite genres. And yeah, I mean, I would say since that was probably like when I was 10 or 11. Since then, I've just been a big metalhead, and that led me to some, you know, my first band was this really, really, really bad thrash metal band called Lustcraft. Please don't look it up, but there is a band camp if you ever want to see that really train wreck of a band.
I'm looking it up.
It's pretty bad. Like Derek was in that band too. And but even though the band was bad, and you know, it was a really fun experience. That was my first time in a band. It was cool to come together with people, make music, and just have a good time. And that was a very like addicting feeling. And kind of on my own time, I worked on myself as a vocalist because in that band I was actually the bassist. And I did some backing vocals, and I realized, oh, I really like doing vocals. And at the time, there was like this band called Lions for Lambs that we got a good amount of traction, and that one kind of fit in that progressive death metal space that I liked a lot, and it's definitely a good experience. It's really unfortunate how everything ended. We were kind of close to getting signed by Victory Records, actually, but our drummer messed up his probation somehow and got arrested, and then that just killed the morale for the band, and then we just ended. It was so sad because, you know, we had some, I thought we had some pretty good momentum. We just put out an album and we were working on our next, and then it just all ended. And then shortly after that, I moved to Seattle, where I kind of took a little bit of break from music, and then I guess Sagen gave me another opportunity to, you know, have that band experience.
Fantastic. And did you have some kind of vocal training, or it just came naturally to you?
I definitely didn't come naturally. Oh, I wish I saved the clips. The first 6 months of me trying to do any vocals, I deleted it on purpose. But in hindsight, I wish I had saved them because they were so bad that it would be nice to like kind of show people like, this is where I started, you know, and this is where I'm at now. And you know, I could explain what I was doing wrong, because you know, when I was originally doing it, I didn't have like throat health in mind. I was just going for it, which had mixed results. Like it would sound like the worst thing ever or like the best thing ever, but at the cost of my voice. So yeah. I just rambled. I actually kind of forgot the original question. Training. Yeah, no training. I mean, I watched a few YouTube videos. There were some YouTube videos back in the day that gave me pointers in the right direction. And I feel so bad that I can't give them credit because it's been so long. But outside of that, I had recording equipment. At the time, I just did a lot of covers from all the bands I liked at the time. And I just went for it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Adam, for sharing. And being the two now, so what would you think as the big dream for you guys for Sagen?
Um, what do you think, Adam?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't catch the question.
What would you think as the big dream for the band now?
Big dream.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's, I mean, like, it's kind of vague. Like, the things I can think of is just like the band continues to grow and like trend in the right direction in the sense of like gaining more fans, more people are aware of us, and that, and this is super vague, but that leading to other opportunities that allow us to continue to progress. What exactly we want those opportunities to be is kind of still up in the air, but as long as we are progressing in the right way, like I don't know. When I think of dream, I think a lot of people think of a destination, but as long as we're trending in the right direction and everyone's happy, I'm happy. So
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Just basically a dream for growth and keep being able to put out good music and
and specifically music that we both are proud of. Like,
yeah.
Amazing. And since there is a breakaway from the live shows, and how do you plan to do the PR works? Are you planning to do the music release through digital, or are you planning to make physical CDs, vinyls, and all that stuff?
Yeah, so there'll be physical CDs available. There'll be digital, it'll probably be on, all the streaming sites and stuff like that. PR wise, I mean, the day of really going out and gigging and selling your music that way is kind of, it still works, but there's better ways you could
it's
use the internet to really reach a fan base and grow a fan base. I know
it's definitely, I was
a
just
lot
gonna
of
say,
people
it's
love
definitely a
live
pathway.
shows.
Oh, sorry.
Hmm.
I'm sure I'm on a delay. But like it's a bit of a struggle bus. Like you have to be consistent with those shows, and like you have to do a lot of
Yeah.
traveling. It's just it's brutal, you know. I've had to do that, and admittedly, great times. But I understand, a term, or I always use like different strokes for different folks. I totally get it. Like not wanting to, do that on a consistent basis.
Hmm.
But yeah, sorry.
Fantastic.
So we'll probably put some ads out on Facebook and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just try to grow it online organically, not buying streams and stuff like that, and um, getting it to the right people so you can listen to it. People who will like it and appreciate it, hopefully. Um, I think that's the best way. That's basically what gigging is, anyways. You're just getting the music out to people,
And
and now you
yep.
can you can get the music out to people on. You don't even need the radio anymore.
Yeah, you
It's
just need
like
the
you'd gig
algorithm.
back in the day. You'd gig, try to get on the radio, get your songs played. Now you're on the radio.
Hmm.
Then you make it big because you get some notice. Um,
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you gig for the, I don't know, maybe more the experience more than anything, because a lot of people love live shows. Um,
Yeah.
so we will be missing out on that end of everything. And I did see that there were a few people online, in certain groups and stuff, that were bummed that we weren't going to be gigging anymore. Um, but the music will still be there, and we're going to try to get it out the best way we can online and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And are you planning to keep the band independent, or planning to go with a record deal or something like in the future?
I mean, it'd be great. Um, I've been I have my eye on one record label. It's kind of a long shot though. And we're also in talks with another label that we're still kind of on the fence about. And I don't know, because it's nice to stay independent because you keep the rights to your music and everything that goes involved with the cons of signing with a major label or anything like that. But at the same time, it would be nice to be like,
Mhm.
hey, we're gonna
Yeah.
pay to get your merch done and album mixed and stuff like that. It would be so cool. Just to have backing and support just means that another group of people kind of believe in the art and everything that goes on with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
think
What do you think, Adam?
having access to infrastructure that a studio label has is kind of invaluable to like bands growth. Obviously, I use that word invaluable, but like there's obviously horror stories of like some studio labels like absolutely like destroying, smaller bands. So to answer the question, yes, under the caveat that we don't get completely destroyed in whatever the contract is. But having access to that infrastructure would be super awesome and would benefit the band.
Fantastic. And as we spoke earlier, you started writing materials for the new album, but do you have a planned name, album title for the album, or it's still not ready yet?
We do have I kind of just mentioned one maybe yesterday that I would love, but we haven't really completely uh talked about doing like a final name or anything.
Mhm.
I think
We're
we'll
still figuring it out.
probably keep it close to the vest on for now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And
We'll come back later on in the next year when we have more stuff prepared and ready for release, and we'll definitely try to get you to ask us that question again.
absolutely, absolutely. And finally, any message that you have for the fans around the world?
Well, obviously, a big thanks for everything they do with supporting Sagen and giving such great feedback, and the amount of listens and streams for Roots of Proctor was just amazing. So we can't thank them enough for that. And then I just hope they're ready for the next one, because I already think that the 3 songs that we're working on so far are just, I think they're just another growth between albums. So I'm excited. I'm excited for them to hear it, and I hope they stick around and look for it when we do finally start putting it out there.
Adam, any words from you?
It's basic, but honestly, how Stephen kind of pitched me for this album, he used I'm pretty sure 2 songs, and yeah, I don't know, it could just be recency bias, I'm not sure, but I felt like, yo, these are the best songs, let's go. I'm super excited. So I guess the message would be like, we're on trajectory, I think, to have a really good album, and feel free, always accept feedback, whenever you hear it. We're going to drop singles before the release. But yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm happy about the music. I just hope, what we put out is something that the fans can also enjoy. And yeah, a lot of the coming years, you got a lot more content coming, and that's always exciting, especially when it's something you enjoy. So
Fantastic.
hopefully the
I think
fans can
I
feel
think that is
enjoyment.
a really good point. Is that this one is like, no distractions, no gigging, blah blah blah. It's 100% in the writing, and I think Adam and I are gonna really put out just something great, something we can both be proud of, and I want to get this one out and in people's ears the best way
Yeah.
possible. So we're both really excited.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. And Stephen and Adam, I want to thank you both so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you guys on this interview. And it's always a pleasure to have you guys. And thank you so much for putting up amazing albums over the year. And I'm looking forward for the new Sagen with you two on this thing, and looking for more awesomeness from you guys. And thanks again. And I hope to see you guys again early 2024 to talk on the new album.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course. That's gonna be great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Stephen. You guys have a good day and take care of yourselves.
You too.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.